want to move on to the other headlines for week 5. And my first question to you, Drew, is who will emerge from this kind of messy, contentious NFC West right now? The 49ers had an excellent opportunity to climb take that first place spot indefinitely for Thursday if they win that game. But unfortunately, even if you guys win, there's still 2 division losses that are going to kind of put all of that on hold. So we're going to have to look at Sunday to see how that shakes out. Loss at Arizona Cardinals puts you guys into 3rd place, even with a win over Seattle. Again, those 2 division losses are going to factor into how the seeding is going to look. The Seahawks are in control, but given how early into the season we are and no one's really pulling away at this moment, and they just lost to the Giants, again, that's wide open there. And Seattle's yet to play a division opponent, so a loss on Thursday would hurt them pretty significantly. When it comes to the Cardinals, win over the 49ers puts them at 2-3, and 2 divisional wins against the Rams and against the 49ers, which respectively gives them the tiebreaker. So Seattle 49ers meet on Thursday night. Who's going to emerge out of all of this NFC West kind of mess right now? Because the Rams are supposed to be a lot better than they were. The 49ers are supposed to be more dominant than what they are right now. Injuries given with that. Seattle's not supposed to be in first place. And the Cardinals, I feel like, are just about where they are. So who's coming out on top on here?
Bro, I'm not worried about this. This is bang, bang, Niner gang all the way, bro. We'll be back in the playoffs like we do every year. And talk to me about the schedule, man. We got the Chiefs. We got the Cowboys. We got the Lions this year. We got the Bills this year. We got the Buccaneers this year. It doesn't matter, man. We step up when it's biggest. We're gonna beat the Seahawks this week, and then we're gonna lose by 3 points in the 4th quarter to the stupid Chiefs, and then we're gonna beat the freaking Cowboys 42-10, and everything will be all right in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have ultimate confidence that. Nice. I still have ultimate confidence that at the end of the season, we're going to be the division winner. What's disappointing to me right now is just watching bad football. I don't enjoy it. And I could have turned that game off and turned on another football game that was much more enjoyable.
Are you worried about any of the other other teams in your division right now?
Like for them, or am I worried about them from the 49ers perspective?
From the 49ers perspective to win the division.
I'm not. The Rams season is over. Yeah. I think, they don't have enough talent anywhere, even though they beat us. The Cardinals, their offenses look terrible, to be honest with you. Kyler Murray is, he's not running the ball like he used to, even though he had a 50-yard run against us. It's just,
look at his little legs go.
I'm not trying to overreact to the one game, right? Their offense hasn't looked great. And, Seattle can't beat us. Geno Smith can't beat us.
Yeah.
Clip that. I might look stupid on Thursday. It's fine. But I'm just... our 1st round pick is not playing. Our offensive player of the year, running back, is on the IR. Dre Greenlaw is not playing. And that Dre Greenlaw thing, man, Devondre Campbell is washed. I'll tell you that. He's not a good NFL linebacker anymore, which is too bad because who's supposed to be playing that position is a certain linebacker that plays for the Cowgirls right now. So it would be really nice to have Eric Kendricks back there instead of Devondre Campbell, but we just got to get my boy Dre Greenlaw Achilles right and get him back on the field, and everything will be okay.
Yeah. This week is pretty big for I think the entire division. Again, it's only big if the Niners lose. At the end of the day, if you guys lose, it's 3 division games down the toilet. Cardinals going to Green Bay, and you can go either way with that game. And then the Rams go into their bye week. But like you said, that's kind of over at this point. There's not much going on there. So I wouldn't really be too concerned about it either, because a lot what it comes down to, you guys, is a lot of injuries and weird performances, or guys being put in the doghouse like Brandon Ayuk. He might be out by this point. So I'm excited to see Thursday on where Brandon Ayuk is. Is he going to be game planned for? Is he going to be schemed open? Because if he is, hopefully he's going to be back in the lineup for you guys, more full time and playing to full potential. Or not, because I'm cool with that too. Second question for you, Drew, is who are you more concerned about, the Bills or the Texans right now? Because the Bills just lost their 2nd game in a row after losing to Houston yesterday. And then the Texans currently are 4-1, and their only losses coming against a massive blowout against the Minnesota Vikings. But the wins that they've been having this year have not looked very good. 2-point interdivision win against the Colts, a 1-score against a struggling Chicago Bears, a 4-point win against maybe the worst team in football, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then a win against the Bills, who almost came back and won the game after a 17-3 lead after halftime. So again, Bills back-to-back losses. You talking about maybe the books out on them, or the Texans, who are kind of getting messy wins, maybe not as dominant as we think, but they're still grabbing the W's. Who are you more concerned about right now?
I'm not too worried about either of these teams, to be honest with you. As the late, great Al Davis said, just win, baby. And the Texans, they're just winning, baby. And they got games against New England, Indianapolis, the Jets, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Miami, Tennessee again. That's like 7 wins, 6 wins right there. So
Yeah,
they already have 4 wins on the season. That puts them at 10. I'm not too worried about that. Nico Collins sounds like he's going to miss this week. So maybe we get a reemergence of Tank Dell this week. We'll see. But, the other thing you have to remember is Joe Mixon started off the season really strong. He's been injured. Damon, what's his name? Before I get yelled at. Damian Pierce has been injured. So it's, they got some injuries just like the rest of the NFL does. I'm not too worried about any of these teams. Josh Allen's going to do what Josh Allen does. And frankly, looking at the power rankings, I would have bigger question marks on like the Lions and the Vikings than I do the Texans and the Bills at this point.
You think so? Why is that?
Well, because the Lions don't believe in themselves. So,
it's fair.
Who knows what's going to go on with it. Like, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me for them to just get absolutely slammed by the Cowboys this week. Now, I'm not rooting for that. I want the Cowboys to lose every week. Matter of fact, I want the Cowboys, to just fall into a crevice somewhere and never climb back out. And then the Vikings, I don't believe in it. Like,
not yet.
It's kind of it's the same thing with the Saints. Derek Carr looked so good the first couple of weeks, and now he's turned into a pumpkin. And Sam Darnold has not looked good the past 2 weeks. And it's just like quarterbacks don't generally just do this. You know what I mean? Like the book was out on Darnold, and I know he didn't get a fair shake in New York, and the Panthers kind of bounced him, But if Sam Darnold's upside is going to be a 3-year, $100 million type performance like Baker Mayfield, then his tendencies are going to cause them to lose some games. So ultimately, if it's the Vikings versus the Texans round 2, I'm taking the Texans in that.
And week 7, it's funny you mentioned both those teams. Week 7, they do face off. Detroit and Minnesota face off 10 o'clock for us. So Sunday game, that'll be one to definitely keep an eye on. And then after that, they face the Rams, Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee. So you kind of get a pretty easy slate for the next 3 games, or 4 games, including the Rams, Chicago, Arizona. Then you have Atlanta, Chicago, Seattle, then Green Bay, Detroit. So then you go back to the interdivision stuff once again. So I don't know, man. It's definitely I didn't have nobody had the Vikings at this point. I think their win total was an average of 6.8 or something like that, was what they were supposed to be, and they're at 5 games right now. They need 2 more to go over what they were supposed to be. So right now they're already almost exceeding expectations.
I want them to keep winning just so we can laugh and joke and figure out what the hell they're going to do about JJ McCarthy in the offseason, what they're going to do about Sam Darnold in the offseason. That's content I'm here for, because we need something to
right, stir the pot.
Hopefully we get a good NBA playoffs this year to keep us going, and not this bullshit we had last year where the Celtics just dominated their way. Yeah. You better watch out for the Knicks, bro. The Knickerbockers, they're coming.
They look pretty good, when all their stars were on the court during the preseason. I don't know if you saw that, but they look pretty good.
I don't watch preseason basketball.
Cat hit a 3 from like 4 steps out, was his first bucket. I was like, oh, there we go. Like, that's fucking awesome. Jesus Christ, I won't face that. But I mean, if we're talking about playoff Cat, I'm not really worried about it. So we can move on though. Last question for the headlines for week 5. Is it time for a coaching change in Cincinnati?
Yes.
After a 1-4 start, 41-38 loss in overtime. I think it's obvious we got to ask the question. You've already talked about the question about the head coaching position there for the Bengals, especially when we're talking about some of the stuff in overtime. The Ravens received the ball in the first in overtime. Jackson gave up a fumble after dropping the snap. The Bengals recovered it at Baltimore's 38-yard line, putting them in a great position to win. Specifically, I saw a post on Instagram said, "Oh, and that's game for the Cincinnati Bengals." And instead of putting the ball in, his $55 million a year quarterback's hands, who was already red hot, and then maybe throwing it around to Jamar Chase, who had 193 yards in the air. So maybe instead of doing that, they wanted to hand it off 3 straight times to Chase Brown. I mean, maybe Zach Moss would have been better. That would have made Drew a little bit happy at least. And then the Bengals missed the game-winning field goal on 4th down. So, and then giving the ball back to Baltimore and then losing the game. You already answered the question. Time to make a coaching change in Cincinnati at this point for you, huh?
Look at this. I'm gonna share this.
What does he say?
He says, "I'm open. I'm always effing open."
Oh, yep.
Jamar Chase after the Bengals fall to 1-4.
Yep. Wide receivers,
now,
dude. Just
so you know, that was last year. That was in 2023. After the Bengals fell to 1-4.
Yep.
So nothing has changed. Except for this comment that says Joe Burrow stinking up the place. Dude secured his money and is taking a vacation this season. I'm gonna retweet that.
That's
anyways.
A take.
You know, I don't think they should fire Zach Taylor in the middle of the season. I don't think that ever works out, especially for a team that's based. His offense is all based around that. But how poor their defense,
like Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, how poor their defense is, and how good a certain defense is operating out of Minnesota. I wouldn't be surprised if they might take a little peek at a little Brian Flores action in the offseason.
Yeah, I don't think that would be such a bad idea. Again, like you said, the defense is just bad right now, man, and it's really disappointing when it comes to Cincinnati Bengals fans. Have to be disappointed looking at this offense and how talented it is, and then turning around and looking at the defense and going, "What the fuck is going on right now?" It sucks, And it's not like you could have gone anywhere else in terms of the first round of the draft. You had to draft a tackle. You had to draft someone, and I don't think they took the wrong guy at that spot. Amarius Mims, super raw project, big athletic freak guy. So I don't think they took the wrong guy there at that point. You got to take someone to protect Joe Burrow, and I think this is probably the best offensive line that Joe Burrow has had up to this point. And it's still not fantastic. It's still like a middling, like between I think 14 to 18 rank is where they are for an offensive line as a collective. So not fantastic still, but still the best offensive line that Joe Burrow has up to this point. And, we're seeing what he can do with that type of talent around him. And again, the defense just sucks. And again, you lose a guy like Dax Hill. Cam Taylor-Britt is kind of up and down all over the place. Yeah, it's just disappointing. So anything else to say about the Cincinnati Bengals or any of the other headlines before we move on to our snap decisions?
No, I just think that there's so much talent on that team that something has to change. And I mean, maybe you fire a defensive coordinator, try to fire up the team somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they should call the Jets and see if Hassan Reddick wants to come play.
I guess. I mean, I think it's.
Could it hurt at this point? I mean,
do they have the cap for it?
Doesn't matter. Any NFL team has the cap for it if they want to have the cap for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't have cap for Derrick Henry, so I don't know, man.
But you guys went all in, so of course you didn't have cap for Derrick Henry. You went all in on Eric Kendricks and Dalvin Cook
and Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips, dude. Yeah, that's where all our money went to vet minimums.
I thought about doing your defensive player of the week. Who was that safety that was all over the place? What was his name? The one that got dogged by George Pickens at the end of the game.
Oh, our nickel corner. Jordan Lewis.
Yeah, Jordan Lewis. He was a menace in that game. Almost put him as an honorable mention for the heat check.
Yeah, Jordan's been good for years now, and no one really ever talks about him. So he's kind of like just a forgettable guy. The dude's been around in the league since like Dez got drafted. and he was challenging Dez to one-on-ones. I mean, he got burnt by Dez, but he was challenging the Dez in practices constantly to one-on-one. So, but yeah, Jordan's been in the league for a couple years. He's been super consistent as a no corner, but yeah, he's been pretty awesome.